the third installment of the Rethinking Pathways to Success, where we work with people that graduated from Inver and got on to do interesting things. A little against the status quo, maybe, outside the norm, if you will. So, and the idea is to show, of course, they come out of philosophy, the importance of philosophy, but also just to see that there's a lot more avenues available than perhaps get spoken of at their success days and things like that. So, on that note, we're going to start out with a presentation from our alumni division. Leslie is going to present Jeremy here with an alumni pin. And so I'm going to step out of the way here for a second and let that happen. So Jeremy, come around here. Leslie, I'll let you introduce.
Sure. I just want to briefly introduce myself. My name is Leslie Cronin, and I work with the Inver Hills Foundation. I work with scholarships that some of you hopefully have applied for, and we'll be hearing more information about spring semester scholarships very soon. The foundation raises money to support scholarships and students at Inver Hills. And we also support the Alumni Association, people who have graduated from Inver Hills and want to continue to stay in touch and find out about resources and things that are happening here on campus, and or have opportunities to come back and speak to classes and share their stories about where they've been and what they're doing. And at graduation, we give out alumni pins as you welcome new students, new alumni members to the Alumni Association. I'd like to give this to Jeremy, and maybe you already got one, but now you have two. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so whether of you first find out a little bit about Jeremy here. So Jeremy, what year did you graduate in?
2012.
2012. So did you come here with a goal, or did you just come here to do a basic transfer degree? Did you know what you were doing when you came?
No, I didn't know what I was doing.
So what did you end up doing?
I ended up stocking up on philosophy classes and Spanish. I used most of my electives for those classes.
For Spanish? Why Spanish?
I don't know. No real reason. Just looked at all of the available options and said, that's the one that I want to go with.
So now when you chose to do Spanish, were you thinking, I'm going to do a degree and go on and get a 4-year degree, or what was your thought?
No, I just really wanted to challenge myself. When I ended up coming back, I was like, let's just take classes that I would have never thought of to have taken, philosophy being some of them, and then I was like, let's just stock up on a foreign language, and Spanish was the one that I went with.
So you say when you came back, where did you go to school?
I had come to Inver Hills in 2004 and failed miserably. Got put on academic probation, came back, didn't do so well again, ended up getting suspended, came back again.
I didn't know any of this.
Went through that whole ordeal and took time off, and then when I was 23, back in 2010, I decided to really dedicate myself, commit to it, something that I wanted to accomplish. So.
Wow, so I noticed you actually were 3 or 4 times before you even.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. So see, there you go. It doesn't. That's again, just because it was working out once doesn't mean it's not the end of the road. All right. So you mentioned philosophy. What philosophy course did you take? Remember?
First one was American Mind, which was absolutely dope. It was amazing.
But you don't get to run very much anymore because that's a higher level one, and then
Yeah. So that was the first one that I took, and the other one was environmental ethics. I doubled down on philosophy that first semester back. Then I ended up taking philosophy of East and West, and of religion as well.
4.
Yeah, 4.
See, that's a super interesting. All right. So you get your degree. And then what was your mindset when you graduated?
I had a buddy of mine that actually I went to Colombia with.
So you already been to Colombia before?
Nope. It's just kind of while I was in school, he was just going to Normandale, and we started talking about maybe doing some traveling, and I ended up meeting a couple of girls from Colombia who were au pairs, I believe. That's what they're called, where they come and it's kind of like a transfer thing where they get like lodging and food, and they help take care of people's children, babysitting and caretaking for them.
You met them here in Minnesota?
I did, yeah. They were living in Edina at the time, and they came into my restaurant, and just through some mutual friends, started talking with them, and started hearing stories about Colombia, and going, wait, what now? Like, and becoming really intrigued, and the offer was extended that if I ever wanted to come down, that they would show me around and help me out. So that's kind of where things started to really pick up, where it was like, okay, I'm studying Spanish, and then here come these two girls, and
This was before you graduated.
so before I graduated. So, yeah, that was kind of my.
And how did the philosophy influence all of this? If you
I'd say so, when I came back, I really didn't know what to expect. Like I said, I just wanted it to be challenging. I wanted it to be something where it was like I had failed. You know, I had done miserably. And I was like, all right, I had given it my best shot. Let's do it. I have the ability. Let's go for it, and I did. And being in philosophy classes, I mean, Ray, it was one of the first days where it was just like he had asked a question, and some girls started responding, and then there was more questions where I was like, what do you mean by this? And then just to see her kind of start to waver off course and to not necessarily have that thought or opinion very well thought out. And I remember sitting there in class just being like, holy crap, like I don't know what it is that what we're talking about. I don't have these opinions that I thought I had, because if I can't get past those first couple of questions, then I haven't thought this out well enough. And so that was like a big intrigue to me. It was like, holy cow, I have no idea.
Does that sound familiar? I had a few, and I was like, I know. Yeah, well, yeah, that's what should happen. Right? But, so do you think that experience, that decentering is what you say in philosophy, helped you with just being in, like, leaving the country in general, if that makes sense? Like being in a foreign place, did that?
Yeah, because I had to become very okay with not knowing, and being okay with saying, like, I just don't know. And then once I accepted that, you know, I was able to be very much more open to what's going on in my mind, what's going on in the world, being very interested in it, and not being afraid. Because I think probably one of the biggest things was like getting over that fear of saying, I don't know, you know, in the middle of a conversation, in the middle of dialogue, and going, I really don't know. So that was a huge just step forward in kind of conquering the fear of it, right? And then everything else just was very simple after that. It was just, all right, cool, yeah, we can go to these countries, we can go do this, we can do that. Like, you know, what's the worst that can happen? Whatever comes, goes. Make the best of it.
See, so there's a method behind my madness, just in case you guys thought I was messing with you. So, don't tell us anything in the presentation in a second, but so how long were you in Colombia?
So I've been to Colombia twice. The first time, so actually both trips were very similar, yet different. Similar in the sense that I started in Colombia, and then halfway through my trip, I ended up going to the Virgin Islands. And the first time that I did that was just to visit my aunt who lives down there. So I did Colombia for 3 months, went down to the islands for a month and a half, and then came back to Colombia for 3 months. They do 90-day visas, so that was kind of my thinking where I was like, oh, I can break this up and I can stay up to 6 months in a year. So yeah.
And what did you? So you were there. That's a long time being. What were you doing for? You just living off what you had?
The first time that I went down there, those first 3 months were strictly traveling around Colombia, and then went to the islands, hung out with my mom, came back, and I taught English at my language school just outside of Paisa. And that was another main goal too, was when the intrigue started building, you know, to wanting to go to Colombia. It was like, well, how can we, my friend and I were having this discussion, how can we maintain down there? How can we live and make money? And prolong it. And so we did the TEFL certification course, teaching English as a foreign language.
How long did that take? You can do that
That
here,
was
do that down there.
11 weeks online. You can do it in like a in-person intensive course for 4 weeks.
And that allows you to teach
Anywhere in the world.
anywhere in the world.
Um,
Spanish. Right on. Well, if there's any other questions I have for you for the presentation. I think most of the stuff I would ask, you're going to probably bring on the presentation. So,
Yeah, I'm going to kind of fly through it and then just open it up.
yeah, so that's what we'll do. We'll take questions. We'll let Jeremy present some photos, some interesting points, some fun things, and then at the end we'll kind of take questions and open it up. So, sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then here.
Just hit slideshow up on top. Over, over, over. Other way. Other way. Slideshow. Right there. Oh, you went right past it. Up, up, up.
Oh, there it is.
This big thing says slideshow, yeah.
Hey, from the beginning, we can do that. I titled it Colombia, mi corazón, which just means my heart. And so, yeah, we'll get started. First things first, it's Colombia, it's not Colombia. Does that make sense? Otherwise, people are going to think that you're hanging out in Missouri, and why would you do that? So it's Colombia, not Colombia. Just a fun little thing that I found online. It's kind of fun little facts. Colombians are obsessed with The Simpsons. It's on TV no matter whose house you go to. Yeah, so this is South American, guys. Up in the top left corner is Colombia circled. I'll zoom in a little bit here. There are a lot of people from Colombia. I'm going to ask the gentleman that helped me out. How many people do you think live in Colombia? 14 million. We're going to go 48 million. A lot of people. I just wanted to highlight just a couple of people that maybe you would recognize. Shakira. Turns out her hips don't lie. Sofia Vergara, who is probably most well known for her time in the sitcom Modern Family. We do have James Rodriguez, who is the face of Colombian soccer. And I'm hoping that this works because I really want to share this with you guys. This is the goal that I believe made him the face of Colombian soccer. This is the 2014 World Cup.
Oh, there's going to be sports, yay.
Goals of all time, in my opinion. And regardless if you're a fan of soccer or not, hopefully you can appreciate the brilliance of football. Yeah, in my opinion, that is the goal that really turned him into a superstar in Colombian soccer.
From current slide, right next to from beginning.
Pardon me?
From current slide, right up, 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 up. You can do it that way too.
No. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, and so
Technology.
the next person that I'm going to show you guys is probably one of the most beloved Colombians of all time. His name is Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and he is a very famous author from Colombia. He actually won the 1982 Nobel Prize in Literature. These next two gentlemen, this is Juanes, singer-songwriter, and this is Carlos Vives. They both have won not only Latin Grammys, but Grammys as well, which is pretty impressive. And so yeah, we're gonna jump into my home away from home, Bogota. Bogota has 8 million people. If you include the metro area, we're looking at close to 10 million people. This is a view of Bogota from Monserrate. You can see that it just absolutely does not end. And when you're up there, you do get that sense, even on clear days, where you're like, it just goes on and on and on. Bogota is actually, it sits at 8,660 feet above sea level. Where this picture is taken from is 10,341 feet above sea level. So almost 2 times Denver, which is a mile high. Which explains why when I got to the top, this is the church at the very top where that picture was taken from. But when I got to the top, it explains why I looked like that. Yeah, the altitude definitely affected me. I was not feeling so hot. And I also have an extreme fear of heights, which is why I look like that, standing against the wall. And it doesn't make me feel all that courageous, considering to my left in that photo, these two girls were hanging off the ledge, just on the pole. But yeah, so up top there in that church, they've got, actually, pardon me, this is my friend Luke on the left-hand side. He's the one that I went down to Colombia with. The girl in the middle is one of the au pairs that I had met. Her name is Angelita. So she met us. This is actually the second day that we got to Colombia, and she took us up to Montserrat.
So is it cold up there? Because I noticed you're pretty bundled up.
In Bogota, it's almost like all 4 seasons every day. You'll get times where it's clear and you're up so high that the sun just beats on you, and you do get hot and you'll strip down to a t-shirt. And without warning, you'll get torrential downpour. So if you don't have an umbrella, you're literally screwed because it comes down, and it comes down hard. And then, yeah, it can be super windy. I mean, it's just, it makes no sense, but it's fun after a while. You're just like, I don't know. I mean, we got out of a cab once, and the streets were flooded. And 4 blocks away is where our friend lived that we were going to meet. And there was not a drop of water where he was. We showed up and we were just soaked head to toe. And he's like, what happened? We're like, a monsoon out there. But up top there in that church, they've got a little market area. You can buy a lot of cool souvenirs. It's a really popular place on Sundays in Bogota. So yeah, they sell all sorts of cool stuff, hats, shirts, little toys and whatnot. So yeah, Angelita, the girl that was in that picture just a few slides ago, she's from Tunja, which is actually 2 hours north of Bogota, and it is freezing up there. This is us hanging out indoors. It literally is like this weather all the time, like today in Tunja. It's miserable, like all year round. It doesn't end. It's like 30, 40 degrees. We were eating these.
Doesn't the equator run through Colombia?
What's that?
Doesn't the equator run through Colombia?
Tunja, Bogota and Tunja are very high up in the mountains, so you kind of miss all of the nice weather rolling through. We're eating arepas, which are these little like corn tortillas. These ones are really amazing. These ones are really soft. They fill it with mushrooms, and like you have your choice of pulled pork, pulled beef, pulled chicken. There's some egg in there, some corn as well. And in Colombia, they have dozens upon dozens of salsas, like just sauces. And so you really just make it into whatever you want. This is us hanging out. I guess we're getting ready to fight. I don't know who we're fighting, but whoever's taking the picture. It's just a little bar that we were hanging out at. These girls, the 2 on the left and the 2 on the right, those were classmates of Angelita's. And we did actually get over to their university and hung out, played ping pong, just met a lot of the students, and watched some cool little live music stuff that they had going on in the university. Very, very, very nice individuals. This is a party that we had gone to for the gentleman on the right-hand side. That's Pierre. He was a Belgian exchange student. And him and Angelita are actually, they were dating for a very long time. They're now engaged and will be married sometime next year. But yeah, so what Pierre has in his left hand there is a bottle of aguardiente. This is the Colombian liquor. Mexico has tequila, the Caribbean has rum. This is absolutely a staple liquor in Colombia. It's not overpowering, it's not overwhelming. It's almost like water with like an anise flavor to it. But it's deceptively sneaky. It will sneak up on you. And
Do you know what it's made out of?
I don't know. I know it's good. And the thing down there, it says sin azúcar, that means without sugar.
Oh, sugar.
If you guys ever get to Colombia, or if you ever get a chance to drink this, make sure you do it with sin azúcar, without sugar. Otherwise, the next day is just going to be absolutely awful. I did find a little commercial for it, which is they're asking like, where's a good place to drink aguardiente? This guy talks a little bit about it.
La verdad que para tomarse un aguardiente pequeño, yo no lo pienso. Me lo tomo donde sea. Un trago sabroso como el guaro, no tiene uno que pensarlo dos veces. En la calle, en la disco, en su estudio, en la casa, en el patio con un buen chinchorro y una buena música vallenata. Ay, papá.
So I needed to explain that basically there's no real one place to drink aguardiente. You can drink it in the streets, you can drink it at home, you can drink it in your like on your patio with your buddy. I mean, it's just they're not kidding. Like, just
So is Colombia, can you walk around with alcohol in Colombia? Is it different than here?
yeah, absolutely.
Can you drive?
Pardon me?
Can you drive, like, with it?
With it, I don't know. The only stories that I've heard of people being pulled over in situations where they had been drinking was a Canadian fella that was driving his girlfriend's SUV while he was under the influence, and a little bribe went a long way. So that's all I really know. But in places such as Medellin, it's a huge outdoor drinking. Like it's just very socially acceptable. Yeah, parks. You get like a lot of people just hanging out in the park at night and buying beer from the little dudes that are running around with like buckets of ice and beer and just or go to the convenience store, grab a bottle of rum, and just sit in the park and drink and talk and people watch. This gentleman here, actually I don't know this guy. I found this picture on the internet. But it's very telling. This happened a lot. A lot of times we'd be walking around and, sticking out, being tourists, being foreigners. They want to talk to you, they want to get to know you, and they want to know why you're there, and they want to make you feel welcome. And so a lot of times we would be walking by, and so these little cups that they have, that's why it's so deceiving, is because you take these little, they're only about 2 inches tall, if that, and they'll pour these little shots. But it just never ends, right? So you're just constantly, so you gotta be careful, because one of the side effects of drinking too much aguardiente is psychosis. No, it's not what it looks like. I actually don't know what it looks like, but I really like this picture. It was actually the gentleman on the left. He was the guy from Canada that I just told that story about. It was his birthday. His buddy in the middle was from Vancouver, visited him for his birthday. We rented out a house in Villeta, which is a little pueblo town outside of Bogota. Rented out a house. There was 10 of us, and I'll just say that there was a lot of aguardiente involved. Really good time. Let's see. It's another possible side effect of drinking too much aguardiente. I actually don't know this gentleman either. This is a photo from the internet. Somebody buzzed his head. Poor guy. But if you do find yourself in a situation where you have had too much to drink, there's one cool thing about Colombia that I absolutely love, and it's the fact that they have this thing called domicilios, and it's basically a delivery service for anything you could imagine. You can use the app to pick up medication or buy medication from a pharmacy, and they'll come deliver it to your house. You can do food, you can do groceries, you can do all this. One day we did go out, and I found myself not feeling so hot, and I got some McDonald's, and it comes in a box, and but if you don't want to go the domicilio route and you want to take Colombians' suggestions as far as how to feel better in the morning, this is one of my favorite dishes that they have down there. This is called Ajiaco, and it's a very traditional soup, and they claim that it cures hangovers. But most importantly, it's just absolutely delicious. There's the corn, and then there's chicken, and then there's 3 types of potatoes, and a little bit of cream in there. Absolutely delicious. Another huge, very popular late morning, midday dish that they do down there. It's called the Bondic Paisa, and it's absolutely massive. Then you've got egg, you've got rice. On the left-hand side is chicharron, which is like a pig skin, like pig fat. It's absolutely delicious. In the middle there's carne, like beef. Up top is a little arepa. Over in the top right, some beans, and then they've got an avocado, some chorizo, just some sausage, and a little plantain there. And another soup or dish, it's very common, especially at lunchtime, you guys, is Sancocho. This is basically just like a light broth soup. There's like some tripe or treep, however you pronounce it. A lot of times it's just what they had left over.
Yuck, you know what tripe is, right?
Absolutely delicious. And this does help too the next day if you do go out.
I don't see how eating tripe out being hungover. I don't.
What's
I
that?
don't think I'm eating tripe out when I'm hungover. I'm
No.
sorry. I'd draw the line at right there.
So I ended up going down to Cali, which is the salsa capital of the world, is what they'll say, and then there's some other places in the world that would argue, but that's my buddy Luke on the left, the one I went down there with. Kat is a local girl that we had met through the hostel. They kind of have like these, there's always a bar pretty much at every hostel you go to, and they'll open it up to locals, and so you can come and meet and greet. She was an amazing young lady. Gentleman in the Mountain Dew shirt, that's Greg again, just popping up everywhere. But we asked Kat, we asked her to take us to a salsa bar that, no foreigners, no tourists had ever been to. And so she brought us, it was 35 minutes in a cab, like outside of downtown Cali. And so that was cool. That was cool to get off the beaten path and literally to be somewhere that not a lot of visitors get to see and get to experience.
Did you guys speak mostly English or Spanish?
That's like one of the things is that
Because they want to speak, right?
studying Spanish here at Inver Hills was great in regards to grammar and sentence structure and getting a feel for it. Being down in Colombia, where the people you speak to aren't there to necessarily help you learn, I mean, that's their day-to-day, right? You come up to somebody and you don't necessarily understand what they're saying, or you don't speak very clearly, or your pronunciation's off. It's hard. That was probably one of the biggest shock factors being down there. It was just like, all this time and effort that I put in to learn this language, oh my God, like what do I do? Because I mean, you have people that are more educated and less educated and different accents from different parts of the city, and it can be overwhelming. But luckily, Greg is fluent in Spanish. Kat was intermediate in English, so there was a lot of, that eased kind of a lot of situations that we found ourselves in. But the main reason why we went down to Cali was, actually, before I get to that, this is at the hostel. And Greg again, I mean, it's just, there's Greg. But this is one of the hostels we were staying at, and I'm just over there fanning a fire. You'd be amazed at how difficult it seemed to a lot of these travelers to just build a simple little fire with some coals to cook up the family dinner that we were planning on having. So I stepped in and got that raring to go. And we did like a huge family dinner that night. Which was really, really, really cool, especially when we've been away for a while, and sometimes you find yourself, your thoughts kind of going back to home, and to have that kind of like camaraderie, and that kind of like family-esque big dinner where everybody was cooking, these people from all over the world, and all these different languages are flying around you, and that was probably one of the more enjoyable dinners that I had. Spend time with all of those people. But the main reason why we went to Cali was they were having the Festival Mundial de Salsa, which is like the World Salsa Festival. And we had gotten down there quite early. They were setting up. We weren't, this is probably only 2 weeks in, so I was still on our time as far as being somewhere at a specific time and not on Latin American time where it's like, hey man, chill out, like we'll get there when we get there. So yeah, this is the band setting up. This is just some of the dancers. I mean, you can just see, man, like they're just so passionate and excited and love salsa dancing. And you see it whether it's at the big competition or if you're at some little salsa bar in the middle of nowhere. I mean, people still get down. And then there are all ages there. There are a lot of young kids from all around Latin America, and these little kids can move, man. Like they just so fast that you're just sitting there going, what? Slow down, guys. And this picture is the one that I took, and it's blurry. And I want to show you a clip of a couple of salsa dancers in that competition, just to show you why it was so difficult to snap that photo and have it come out clear. So these are the two individuals at that competition. I've tried to dance like that. It's probably what I think, or how I'm dancing when I'm drinking aguardiente, but...
So a couple questions. First of all, what did they get for winning? Do you know?
I don't know if they were the ones that actually...
No, what was the prize for winning?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
How many people were there? That was my other question. Like,
what's that?
Did that place end up getting packed?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that everything was packed. I'd say about two-thirds. Two-thirds. It did sound like a soccer match, didn't it, though? All the horns going on in the background. Yeah. Let's see. And so, after...
What were you telling me? A little Spanish, a little salsa can go a long way down there?
What's that? Oh, yeah, absolutely. If you, I'd say, if you can speak Spanish at even a intermediate level, and you can dance salsa, I mean, you'll make friends. Like, it goes a long way. And I think it's part of, like, their culture as well. They're very proud of where they come from. If you show them that you've put forth an effort to learn their language or to learn their style of dance, that it warms their heart, and then they reciprocate that kind of warmth with you, with their hospitality. But after Cali, after the Salsa Festival, I went up to Cartagena, which is actually up on the Caribbean coast, up in the north. This is the coastline. We were actually in a boat going to an island, because when you're in the Caribbean, you want some drinks.
Yes,
Gentleman
you
was
do.
awesome. I hung out with this guy all day. This is my friend Joanna. Met her through the hostel that we were staying at back on the mainland. The owner, his girlfriend, was friends with Joanna, and she decided to come with myself, and so he's handing that drink to this gentleman. This is my buddy Martin. Really awesome Swiss German dude. All about just a fun-loving guy, man. He's probably one of the more wonderful people that I met while I was traveling. We still keep in touch. He actually just bought a van, and he is traveling throughout Europe right now. So he went back home for the last 3-4 years, just saved up money, and he bought a van, and he's just hauling it across Europe. This is the little hut that we stayed in. The little red drapes up there were the entrance. All three of us stayed up there. There's me. Yeah, don't worry, guys. I got the grapes. Yeah, and these were the ladies that ran a little store that was down below us, and they lived a little bit further back away from the ocean itself. And they go around and sell things and offer to give little massages on the beach. This is our little patio area. Kind of ridiculous to call it a patio on the beach, but I mean it's covered in case there's any rain. We would be hanging out there, and guys would come by with some freshly caught seafood and offer to make ceviche on the spot. And of course, we were like, absolutely, we just got that from there. But, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's me just coming out of the water. It's just it's beautiful up there, man. Perfect weather too. Sun setting. Martin and I enjoy the sunset. Yeah, not a care in the world, man. I mean, what's cool is that it was Latin America, but it was the Caribbean. So, and I know you've been to the Caribbean, you've lived there, so you know. So it was just this. It was amazing. It was amazing to experience Colombian culture up on the Caribbean coast. It was sweet. That's when the sun went down. One cool thing about that night that we had no idea was going on was it's what is it called? It's bioluminescent. Do anybody know what it's called? Like the little.
It's just bioluminescent, right? The
okay.
bay.
Yeah. So we were out. It was like 3 in the morning, and it was just clear, and the stars are out, and perfect. It must have been like 85 degrees, like 10-mile-an-hour wind, and we're like, why sleep? You know, like let's go out to the beach, let's go for a swim. And we dove in the water, and everything just started lighting up around us, and it was one of the coolest surprises ever. Just hey, let's go for a swim, and all of a sudden you're like, you know, it's like a little nightclub.
Yeah, two of the biggest are in Puerto Rico, you know.
But yeah, I missed it when I was over there. But yeah, and then back at the hostel that we were staying at, this happened. It was just a torrential downpour, and we asked the hostel owner, we're like, well, how often does this happen? He's like, I've seen it maybe 3 or 4 times. They just don't get a lot of rain, and it was just coming down so hard. You could just see like it projecting off of the roof. So the gutters couldn't handle it. And in Cartagena, it's absolutely miserably hot. You take about 4 showers a day just to cool off. And so Martin and I had this idea where we're like, this is a never-ending shower. Like, let's go out and have fun and play and, you know, wash up. We were the only 2 people that, out of all the 50 people were standing there watching us, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it, why you would not take advantage of such a thing going on. But yeah, we had fun. We were hanging out. The little pool that he was sitting in was a little bit warmer, and he was telling me it was his personal hot tub, which actually is where they bathed the dog. I don't know if he knew that, but whatever. Yeah, there's some guy over to the right sitting in his room.
Why is there a big blue bucket full of water?
That was just the runoff.
They're just trying to catch it. And they gave up catching the water, said screw it.
Yeah, I think maybe it had started earlier, and it was just like, whatever, what are we going to do? Yeah, just 2 of us hanging out, having fun, 2 baldies. Yeah, and that was basically the end of that first 3-month period. Really was, I mean, it was the first time that I backpacked, been away from home for that long. I mean, it was a really enjoyable experience. Yeah, and that's it. That's all I've got as far as photos from there. Yeah, include with that.
Well, cool, yeah. So, we'll take some questions here.
Yeah, for sure.
Anybody? I have tons, but I'll let you, I'll open it up. I guess I'll stay up here and do the cam.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You said that they asked you why you were visiting. What did you tell them?
To really, because by the time that we had got down there, I was so absolutely intrigued by the things that I had seen on the internet, just doing Google searches for images, things of what to expect, reading people's little testimonials about the time that they had spent there, and for me, when I got down there, and when I was asked that question, I would say, like, I just want to, like, get to know you guys. I want to know what makes you guys tick. Why are you this way? Because Colombia in 2013 and in 2014 was named the happiest country on earth, which, it's not without its problems socially and economically for a lot of people, but still, regardless of money, these people are insanely happy.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because there's two ways of measuring that, right? They measure happiness in two different ways. When they measure it financially, it's the Netherlands, Sweden, those are the places that are number one. When they measure it on pure eudaimonia, to throw that term out there, then places like Colombia and Peru or places like that win. So very different measurements, but Questions? Yeah.
You know how you said salsa and like knowing a little bit of Spanish would get you a long way there? If someone doesn't know the language at all, could they have fun or would that really be an issue?
Oh man, so while we were in Cali, we had met these gentlemen from the UK, and we went out to lunch with them, and we sat down, and by this point, we had been maybe about 3 weeks in. I was getting more comfortable in situations such as ordering food and just knowing the verbiage that goes on there. And when it came time for these gentlemen to order something, they couldn't even order a juice. And so I was a little baffled, and I asked them, I said, well, how long have you guys been in Latin America? And I said, oh, well, we've been traveling. We started in Brazil, and we've been traveling for the last 18 months. So, in regards to, do you have to know the language to have a good time? Absolutely not. Does it help? Absolutely. But that blew me away. Just as far as I'm thinking, like how difficult it was to figure out the bus station and to get directions. And that's another thing. A little fun fact: it's not just Colombia, but Latin American. I think in general, if you ask somebody for directions and they don't know, it's not that they want to mislead you. It's almost like they feel bad, or they're a little embarrassed to say that they don't know. Maybe they should take philosophy class.
They still have philosophy.
And they will make up directions.
Yes, they will. Don't ask directions a lot. Just don't do it.
In Cartagena, we were trying to find this billiards club that we had heard about to play some pool, and we asked the security guard, and he's like, got this, yeah. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go just down this street, two streets. You're gonna see a little yellow building, and you're gonna take a left. And once you take a left, you come down and you see some cool flowers over here to the side. So they're telling you these detailed stories, just as if oh, there's a Walgreens up there, and then you're going to see Duckwood, and then you're going to turn left, And so after being led astray many a times and just being we found out that it was best to ask somebody and then head in the direction that they initially pointed, and then each block ask somebody new to try to kind of track it down. But definitely don't need to have a high efficiency of Spanish to enjoy yourself and get around.
But you would agree, because I think you would agree on this, there's definitely a difference in the experience though too, right? Because when I first went out to Mexico back then, I didn't speak anything. Versus when I went back again and having some language, it opens up, right? The language opens up doors that you could be down there and have a blast and still never be there, if that kind of makes sense. So,
yeah. And I think that having a decent understanding of the language really helps open up the doors to who they are, to their culture, because then they can share stories with you and they can explain certain things to you that, if somebody's translating for you, you might miss this or that. So I definitely think that it's a perk for sure.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
After your time in Colombia, did you, or like when you were there, did you become fluent in the language, or?
Not fluent, no. I would say intermediate. I'd say that it, by the time that the first 3 months were wrapping up, I'm starting to feel very comfortable in a lot of situations and having conversations and really finding the confidence to put myself out there, even if I didn't necessarily know where the conversation would go, and trying. And I did go to the Virgin Islands for 5 weeks and then came back, and so there's a little bit of regression there, and then kind of built that up, and then I ended up coming home after that second stint for a year and a half, and then I went back down again, and this time I was with somebody that spoke fluent Spanish, and so that helped elevate my Spanish, just being with him and having conversations with him, just in our home, you know, in our living areas. But yeah, definitely helped a lot, being down there and being immersed and not having the option of, you know, just asking somebody, hey, can you help me out? I mean, you really got to sit there and get over that anxiety that goes on, that you feel, that kind of will clamp you up a little bit. You have to get over that. And it's tough. It definitely is. But once you do, it becomes fun because you start to experience your personality in Spanish, which isn't necessarily what it is in English, and you kind of find that out. So that's something that I've enjoyed learning Spanish.
Question? Yeah, go ahead.
Kind of backtracking a little bit when you started here. When you originally went to school in 2004, what were you thinking of kind of going towards it? And then what about philosophy kind of made you shift into Spanish and philosophy?
Oh, coming here in 2004 was what I felt that I needed to do, that I was supposed to do, that this is the next step. Nobody can tell me why, but, you know, here I am, and I don't really give a crap about my psychology class. I don't give a crap about this class, you know what I mean? Like, just not caring, not having an interest, not being dedicated at all. And then I suppose having endured those failures in being here at Everett Hills, you know, I had to, you know, take a good hard look at myself, right? And then ask myself, like, what are you capable of, right? You know, like, can you do this? All right, the answer is yes. Then okay, let's do this. And so as far as when I ended up coming back years later, why philosophy was something that, to be honest, I remember I remember wanting to choose classes that would challenge me, like just above and beyond what I was comfortable with. You know, I didn't want it to be something like writing that I had success in high school and things like that. I wanted it to be something where it's just like, I have no idea. And so I remember looking at the philosophy classes and looking at the descriptions and reading the American Mind, and really the thought that got me going was, maybe this can help me understand why I think the way that I do. So that was the big draw, was reading the description of American Mind class and going, I wonder why it is that I think the way that I do. So that was probably the first inkling of like, okay, philosophy, let's see what this is all about.
Did you?
Yeah, you know, like how every new place like teaches you something, like it could be like a state or a country, but with Colombia, what is it like? What did it teach you? Like, what was your experience? Like, what did you learn?
How did it change you?
That's
I guess that. There you go.
the world that I thought that I knew didn't exist. Right? Maybe in my mind, right? As far as what I thought of the world and what I thought people were like from here and from there. And then being down in there and, you know, having a first-hand experience with people from Colombia and being treated so kindly in a number of situations. There was a time where I was having constant ear infections, and the hostel that I was staying at, the overnight lady, she went up to, I was laying on the couch in severe pain, and she went up to the pharmacy and got me some antibiotic eardrops, and, you know, just little things like that, like just the caring, right? That somebody that doesn't know me, that's not where you know, from where I'm from, could show me that kindness.
Yeah.
That was huge for me, and you know, just realizing that the world's not this big, bad, scary place. It's just not. I never got kidnapped, which everybody was always so afraid of and kept saying, nor did I ever get robbed, you know. It's like just realizing that there are very beautiful and kind people no matter where it is that I go. And then also just learning to have an open mind in regards to different cultures, you know, getting to become familiar with eating their food and just really just becoming really open-minded, especially talking to a lot of travelers from all over the world and just kind of picking their brains as far as like, what do you think about this and what do you think about that, and kind of comparing it to what I think or what my perception was of other people and places and how they might have viewed the U.S., right? So a lot of my first couple months there was kind of just very subtly picking the brains of other people from different countries. Just to kind of see, you know, like, is it what a lot of people say where it's like, oh, everybody hates you and they hate your freedom and all this crap. No, it's not, you know. There are a lot of people with a lot of different perceptions of us, and yeah, that was cool. It was definitely something that definitely changed me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did it take you a while to save up for these trips?
Yeah, I'd say that once I got done paying for school and paying for that TEFL certification, yeah, there was a mad dash. I think I worked 35 out of 40 days at one point, you know, days off just they didn't mean anything because it was just this like, let's just go. Every dollar counts. And I did saved up about $6,000 for that trip, and I spent it.
Now, when you went back down again and taught, how did that go?
So I did the first 3 months traveling around. That was what everything, all the pictures were. Went to the Virgin Islands, visited my aunt, and then came back. And so it was like kind of this transitional period where it was like, I'm not backpacking anymore. I'm trying to set up shop and I'm trying to create some sort of life down here. And a girl from the UK, her name is Lexi. I had met her the first day that I was in Colombia. And we went out that night and exchanged information and kept in touch. And she ended up having to leave Colombia to go back home for personal reasons. Gave me a phone call and told me, hey, I know you're looking to teach English. I have this interview tomorrow, but I'm not going to be there until 2 days after, right? So I'm going to miss this opportunity for this interview. And so she gave me the gentleman's information. I called him, set up an interview. I walked in. I had what I needed as far as the TEFL certification, and that was it. That same day, I got on a bus that transferred us over to the school and orientation. I mean, I was the last person to get hired to fill the positions. So it was intense, man. It was like one day I just got, I'm just getting kind of trying to figure out this transitional period, and then all of a sudden that transitional period was just gone, and I was there going through my orientation and getting ready for classes and all that stuff. It all kind of just fell into place for me. I didn't have to look very hard or do too much searching for it. So.
Well, it's funny how often that's funny how often that happens when you go out and put yourself out there. Often it does. It just falls into place. So. Any other questions? All right then. Well, that was fun. If we can get a round of applause for